Um, James and I have done probably like half a dozen truck races, and the guy from down under, Meddings, he always seems like almost every race he's gonna like charge from the back. And were you looking over
There,
your?
Greg?
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yep. You're sometimes just a little choppy. You're a little choppy sometimes.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it said connection issue. How is it now? All right, I switched over. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah,
All
much
right, sorry
better.
about that. Yeah, it was at a connection issue. What I was saying, Meddings from Australia always seems to charge up at the end of the race if he's not already running up front. Were you looking over your shoulder for him at during the last few laps?
Yeah, he was definitely one I was worried about there, and I believe he was sitting third, fourth, in a couple of those restarts there at the end, and he was definitely one I was looking out for.
Yeah.
It did turn out to be quite the shootout
Oh
between
yeah.
Dustin Reinstedel and myself, and I had some legs on him there the first couple of turns, and he come out of four, and I have no idea where he found that speed on the last lap coming to the checkered, and
Yeah.
I believe he was right at my rear quarter when I passed the start finish line, and it was a close ending, and him and I had a pretty decent shootout there at the end,
Yeah, it was good.
it was a fun race. Yeah.
What are your plans for Kentucky for this Friday night?
You know, Kentucky is a strategic track for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tire wear it can be uh, pretty exponential. In those first couple of stages again, because you got
Yep.
to try to manage your sets and still have something for the end. So I'm going to go into it just with the mindset of just again just trying to keep it clean and manage tire sets. I'd love to get some stage points out of a couple of those stages and be up there to contend for the win. But I got to play it. You got to play it with some strategy
Yeah.
and again kind of see what the fast competitors are doing and how you can be different, right? Because that's pretty much how that's how you come victorious at the end is doing something different than what
Doing
the
exactly.
folks behind you did.
Now, turn one. Do you find turn one to be somewhat of a late apex?
Yes, yeah.
Got it.
Kentucky is a very interesting track.
Yeah.
uh, Turn one is definitely not a struggle, but it's definitely different than rolling into turn three.
Mm-hmm.
And even exit at turn two is way different than the exit at turn four. So
Yeah.
um, it's definitely somebody that's going to be out there and consistent and not overdrive the truck. Is one that you're going to see up the front.
Now, do you find the high line or the low line or the middle line better, and does it change during the race for you?
Uh, so you may see me down at the bottom at the beginning, and I do tend to chase the groove up the track.
Mm-hmm.
So even this past weekend, I was down at the bottom, and then I found more speed up in the middle lane of one and two. If there's a wall riding track, I'm on it. I love riding a wall.
Yeah.
So if I can get it to work and stick, you'll probably see me up at the top. But I tend to see and feel what that track's doing, and um, see where it's faster and where it's a little more racier. But I have seen both strategies work there. So we'll see what the track's like, come Friday, and see which lane is the better of the two.
Cool. Did you happen to catch any of the Cup car race yesterday at Homestead with Kyle Larson riding the wall literally 3 or 4 inches off the wall?
Yeah, I did, man.
That was insane.
That's one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah, that's a good track, and it seemed to work for him for quite a while there.
It did until he got the barrels there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he tapped Blaney right before then too, because I guess Blaney slowed down pretty quick going into the pits there.
Yeah, he did, and that's a very a pretty close controversy between a Blaney fan and
Yeah.
Kyle Larson fan right now. So,
Yep.
I got to say I'm on the Blaney train, so I don't know.
Yeah, I like Blaney. I don't.
rounds with
Yeah.
Anthony.
Blaney seems like to be a good guy. He's a good guy. Larson's not a bad guy either, but Blaney would be the guy I'd want to have a beer with at a race.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
being that you got to watch tires Kentucky on Friday night, and they start to wear out. Which turn gives you the most agita, 2 or 4?
4.
Yes.
I struggle with 4 with a worn set of tires.
I struggle with a new set of tires. It's something about coming out of 4. It reminds me of there's a couple other tracks like that where you come out of 4, Michigan, and you can just
Yeah.
fly and slide like crazy. Plus, I find pit road at Kentucky can be a little troublesome.
Yeah, it can be. Like I said, man, somebody that's going to be consistent and understands tire wear and knows where to back their corner up a little more to get that good exit is definitely somebody that's going to come victorious at the end of Kentucky. It's definitely one of those tricky mile and a halves.
Yeah, you expecting a clean race or a lot of yellows for all 3 series this weekend?
Hey, I'd love a clean race this weekend. Expect a clean race every weekend. So,
Sure.
I hope we can make it happen. And the biggest thing is give and take, and
Yep.
and understanding where you can take and are comfortable taking, and understanding when it's time to give somebody this position.
Exactly.
So.
Well,
that's what it's about.
Well, I certainly hope to run clean on Sunday because I got the red flag watch for being 4 1,000ths over on the incident report today. 0.124.
Yeah, it'll get you, Greg, every once in a while.
It will.
Every one of us here has been on it. Shamefully,
Yep.
myself has been on it. So, it tends to work itself out once you understand what it's there for.
Oh, sure. No, I get it.
And you get yourself off of it and maintain to be off of it, you'll understand, this is a good system.
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely is. I was just going to bust your chops for 4 1,000ths of a point. I mean, come on. Sunday night, I had such a clean race last night up until lap 58 when the 4 and I got into it coming out of turn 2. They called it a racing incident, which it definitely was. I was coming up, he was going down. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to get my extra 5 points for a clean race. But then the rest of the incidents, it was collateral damage, and I'm like, ugh, that's going to hurt. But I get it. I just had to bust your chops on it a little bit.
For sure. All good.
All right, well, good luck Friday night at Kentucky, and congratulations on your win this past Friday night at Auto Club. We'll see you Friday on the broadcast.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
Alrighty. So let's take a look at truck points after week 3, after Auto Club is in the history books, and we're heading to Kentucky on the 27th. In first place is Ryan Latshaw with 78 points. This is really tight. After 2 weeks as it should be, but this is really tight all the way through the top 10, only 16 points separating everybody. In P2, Albert Williams has 77 points. Bryce Meddings, our buddy from down under, he's in P3 with 76 points. Eric Thaler has 74 points. He's in P4. Brandon Morris right behind him at 73 points in P5. Sean Happick has 71 points in P6. Craig Hawkins, P7 with 70 points. Dustin Reinstedel is in P8 with 67. Tie for 9 with Mark Conkrin and Brandon Hinton, both with 66. And rounding out the top 10 in P10 is Mike Todd Jr. with 62 points. Next race is Kentucky. Will be Friday night. We go green at about 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can watch that race live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Rivenvale. And James Johnson and I will be in the booth calling the race and having a good time. And I'll be watching to see how everybody drives and trying to pick up some pointers for Sunday's race. Cool Down Lap Xfinity's series review. The next race is October 21st. That'll be at Indianapolis. And the winner this week was Dustin Reinstedel. And let's check out the Xfinity points after week 2. Next race is at Iowa, I believe. And in first place is Dustin Reinstedel with 90 points. Second place is Jason Huffman with 85 points. Third place is Michael Simia. He's on the Joe Sixpack Racing team with me in the Cup Series. He's a part-time driver there. He has 80 points in P3. Colin Huffman, too, has 79 points in P4. Just a couple points behind him is John Bates with 77 at P5. P6 is Drew Alvarez with 75 points. Tie for 7th with Clarence Prince and Garrett Reed, both at 63 points. And rounding out the top 10, not too far off the pace in P9 is William Callis with 68 points. And 10th place is Andrew Miller with 66 points. Cup review from Auto Club this week. The winner was Justin Thaler, and crazy finish at that race. I was almost up at the top with just a few laps to go. I think I was in P7 or P6, and then got some collateral damage and got the iRacing menace that every time you just tap the wall, you've got wheel damage, which sometimes doesn't mean anything, but usually when I get it, it means I got to crawl back into the pits. So ended up cruising around the lower apron there at the close of the race just to be able to finish the race, and I think I finished P12, which that's good enough for me. So congratulations, Justin Thaler, on your win at the Cup Series this week at Auto Club. And the top 10 drivers in the Cup Series, Justin Thaler at first place with 86, and right behind him is Christopher Melton, who also had a good ride last night with 86 points. Eric Thaler is in P3 with 83 points. Peter Dillon is in P4 with 79. John Bates in P5 is tied with Brandon M. Hinton at 70 points each. P7 is Brandon Morris with 68 points. Clarence Prince is in P8 with 67. Norm Snyder, not too far behind him, in P9 at 65. And rounding out the top 10 for the Xfinity Series is Anthony Castor. You've been listening to or watching the Cool Down Lap. This is the official podcast of Midwest Motorsports. It is live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Greg Dreiss. Also will be up on YouTube shortly after the race. We just hit a little button. That's one thing I know I can do technically, and get it up to YouTube later on tonight. And if time allows, we'll get it up on Anchor, or if not tonight, we'll get it there tomorrow morning. Cool Down Lap is brought to you by the Sim Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Dreiss. I want to let you know about Track Racer. Track Racer has an affiliate program with Midwest Motorsports, where if you like Track Racer equipment, which is darn good equipment, and you buy it, make sure you have the code or find out what you have to do. when you hit the checkout there, because for every sale that's made using the Midwest Motorsports affiliate link, the league gets a small commission, which goes to help offset the cost of broadcasting and putting everything together. So we'll be back on Monday night next week with another edition of the Cool Down Lap. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, if you want to find about another league that has some good stuff going on, you can log in and listen live right here as the Sim Racing Podcast hosts the Burn 'Em Down podcast for the Rolling Thunder Racing Series. Rolling Thunder Racing Series podcast, the Burn 'Em Down podcast, tomorrow night, 8 p.m., same channel, that channel, same racing time. So until then, stay in your lane.